Welcome back, and thank you for joining us again. This episode continues directly from our previous video, where we explored the foundations of this developing story. If you haven't watched that yet, I highly recommend starting there to get the full context. You'll find the link to that episode at the end of this video. Make sure to check it out so you don't miss any critical details. Now, let's continue where we left off. As this conflict moves deeper into uncertainty, stepping back from headlines becomes essential. What is unfolding is not a rapid, decisive confrontation, it is a complex strategic standoff. Predictions of swift resolution have given way to a contest defined by endurance, economic leverage, and calculated signaling. Iran's strategy emphasizes asymmetric tools, low-cost drones, calibrated regional messaging, and selective demonstrations of capability designed to impose high defensive costs on technologically advanced adversaries. When low-cost systems confront high-cost interceptors, the economic equation becomes part of the battlefield. This is not a knockout fight. It is a sustained contest of resources, resilience, and adaptability. The Strait of Hormuz remains central. Even limited tension in this corridor affects global energy markets. Shipping insurers reassess risk exposure. Oil prices fluctuate. Governments release strategic reserves or adjust import diversification strategies. Advanced air defense systems intercept many incoming threats, yet no system offers absolute certainty. The cost imbalance between offensive and defensive measures shapes strategic planning. Economic endurance, not merely military capability, becomes decisive. In this environment, markets react not only to confirmed developments, but to perceived risk. Volatility becomes leverage. Meanwhile, long-standing tensions between Israel and Iran continue to influence calculations. Both sides understand that escalation carries profound consequences beyond immediate exchanges. Regional stability, energy flows, and diplomatic alignments are intertwined with every action. The objective for most actors is not maximal destruction, but controlled signaling. The challenge lies in ensuring that signaling does not cross unintended thresholds. History shows that escalation often occurs gradually, then suddenly. There is also the broader question of global transition. The post-Cold War order centered heavily on American primacy. Today's environment is more distributed. Powers such as China and Russia observe developments carefully, balancing economic interests and strategic positioning. Regional actors pursue diversified partnerships rather than exclusive alignments. Neutral states hedge through energy agreements, defense procurement diversity, and multilateral diplomacy. Multipolarity introduces flexibility, but also complexity. Managing friction in such an environment requires disciplined statecraft. Economic strain remains a defining variable. Energy disruptions affect households far from the Gulf. Inflationary pressure influences political discourse domestically within major economies. Currency confidence and sovereign debt markets respond to prolonged instability. In globally integrated systems, financial stress can compel recalibration more effectively than battlefield developments. Strategic planners must weigh not only immediate objectives, but sustainability. The durability of domestic consensus matters. Public tolerance for prolonged engagement is finite. Throughout history, durable outcomes in the Middle East have typically emerged from negotiation, rather than decisive military victory. Diplomacy may appear slow and incremental, yet it often delivers more stable arrangements than force alone. Maintaining open channels, even indirect ones, reduces miscalculation risk. De-escalation mechanisms, back-channel communication, and third-party mediation can prevent unintended expansion. The longer tensions persist, the more incentives emerge for structured dialogue. We may ultimately interpret this period as the closing chapter of one geopolitical era and the uneasy opening of another. The transformation is not abrupt, but cumulative. Strategic dominance gives way to competitive equilibrium. Regional powers assert autonomy. Global powers recalibrate commitments. Alliance systems evolve. In this transition, stability becomes the most valuable currency. Domination invites resistance. Balance encourages sustainability. The coming weeks will shape trajectories. Will diplomatic frameworks regain momentum? Will economic constraints enforce restraint? Or will miscalculation widen the confrontation? These questions remain open. But one truth stands clear: this moment represents more than a confrontation. It represents transition in power distribution, in strategic doctrine, in economic interdependence, and in global perception. This is not simply a story about conflict. It is a story about adaptation, about how states respond to pressure, about how markets influence policy, about how credibility shapes calculation, and about how, in a multipolar world, stability requires coordination rather than coercion. The international system is being tested militarily, economically, constitutionally, and diplomatically. The outcome will not be defined solely by battlefield exchanges, but by resilience, restraint, and strategic foresight. Understanding that broader context is essential. This is not just a war to watch. It is a turning point to understand. And the balance that emerges from it will define the next era of global order. This documentary is created for educational and informational purposes only. The analysis presented reflects publicly available information, historical context, and geopolitical research at the time of production. It does not promote violence, endorse military action, or advocate harm against any nation, government, or group. The views expressed are analytical in nature and intended to encourage critical thinking, informed discussion, and peaceful dialogue. Geopolitical situations are complex and evolving. Developments may change after publication.